Hey, so this is going to be kind of a weird video, but I kind of wanted to talk about it because it's something that some people have noticed, and I do want to acknowledge that it did happen. And before I even get into it, don't think that something crazy happened. I didn't go to a candy store and rob a bunch of children. It's just something that happened on the channel that I'm sure some of you may have picked up on. Recently, I ended up going to Las Vegas for a week, and then I came back to my place for a day, and I had one day to do things, and then I went to London for about another week as well. So in total, I ended up being out of town for about 2 weeks. And the thing is, since I was going to be out of town for 2 weeks, we needed to kind of bulk record daily content so that I could have things being edited on while I was gone. However, as some of you may be able to guess, doing stuff like that is actually very hard, especially when it comes to like League of Legends. Having to create a lot of League of Legends content in a condensed amount of time basically boils down to playing 8 hours of solo queue in a single day. And then I had to do that multiple days in a row, which if any of you have ever played 8 hours of solo queue before, it's kind of a fate worse than death. Anyways, we bulk recorded a bunch of content in order to be prepared for when I wasn't going to be home. And in turn, I ended up playing a bunch of solo queue. And I think in one of the streams alone, we ended up having 3 or 4 griefers in a row, as in literal people who ran it down or people who AFK'd, etc., etc. And all of that stuff kind of got to me because I think it would get to anyone after a certain point. And in turn, I still tried to force myself to create content because I didn't have a lot of time left. And I sat there trying my best to get content in that day, and I continued to play solo queue when my heart just wasn't in it. And then in one of the days after like 4 or 5 hours of solo queue, I ended up recording that Poppy's Playtime Chapter 2 video where I was visibly upset the entire time. And the whole point of me even apologizing here is because like I'm sorry that some of that content I came off as really negative. I did get comments saying that they perceived it or they noticed it. And I don't ever want to be just that. Like, it's okay to be negative sometimes, but in some of those videos, I was just outright very upset. And honestly, looking back at it now, I think it would have been better to not upload some of those videos. Don't get me wrong, I still think Poppy's Playtime Chapter 2 is a hot pile of garbage. But I just wanted to say that I do notice it, for those of you who noticed it as well. I do notice it, and I apologize for that. And next time I ever do end up leaving my office for longer than a few days, I am going to prepare a lot earlier so that we don't have this same mishap. I know it's a weird thing to apologize for, and I know it's a very, very small video, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I am aware of it, and I'm sorry. And I think that's all I have to say. We're back to daily content today. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.